Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. We are currently here in Ishgard in the Aethenium Astrologicum to unlock the Astrologian job. However, I've already done some of the questline for the Astrologian, and so I'm New Game Plusing this. It begins here with Jannequinard. Greetings and welcome to the Aethenium Astrologicum. Perhaps you were drawn by fate to this place of learning? Or perhaps you wish to know more about the fate itself. Sure, why not? Then you are wise to come hither, for in the stars are written the fates of every woman and man on Hydaelyn. It was there in the stars that I read a woman would call upon the Aethenium this very day, a woman who would play an important role in my own destiny. But my apologies, even the most skilled reader cannot spy a name from the heavens. Would you be so kind as to give me yours, so I might know who is to be my newest protege? Give Jannequinard your name and become his protege? Sure. I'm Desiree. Desiree, well, I was not expecting that, but what is a name but an attempt by our begetters to wield power over the lives of their sons and daughters? Lives whose paths have already been foretold, in a sense that is. My name is Jannequinard de Durandare, and I'm an astrologian for the Holy See. Remember that name, for it shall echo forevermore in the annals of Ishgardian history. Well, it will, once I put it there. Once we put it there. And how do we do that? Now, where to begin? I suppose I could consult my divining deck for an answer, but that would be too easy now, wouldn't it? Very well, at the beginning it is. Astrology, or the reading of the stars, is a branch of the astrological science which originated in distant Sharlayan. There have been astrologians in Ishgard for thousands of years, but it wasn't until 3 centuries ago when Ordinel the Younger learned that the movement of the stars could also be used to foresee the movements of a Dravanian horde that the field became popular. Since then, what was once a single science has bifurcated into 2 similar yet ultimately different schools of learning. The Sharlayan school of astrology and the Ishgardian school. The former placing a focus on tapping celestial aether and transforming it into beneficial magics, or astromancy. The latter specializing solely in determining the action of our dragon enemies to the north. I'm a student of the former, the only student of the former here in Ishgard, and have been actively seeking a partner of whom to conduct my research. Let us just say that my fellow astrologians here have been less than approving of my path. But that is simply because they are afraid of what they do not know. Once they do know of how Sharlayan astrology can benefit the sea and its soldiers, they will feel foolish for ever having doubted me. Us. You will be joining me, will you not? Walk the path that has been laid out before you instead of stubbornly denying your fate, postponing the inevitable. Yes, I turn around and leave this quest forever in my quest log. No, I'm in. I see you wasted no time making your decision. Like I always say, the stars are never wrong. Alas, even a lifetime of study and training cannot unlock all the secrets written in those stars. Myself, I've been a student of the astromantic arts for more summers than I can count, and I still often misread the signs shown to me in the skies. Though my readings are far more accurate now than they were when I attended the Aethenium in Sharlayan. Not the Sharlayan, mind you, the colony that once thrived in the Dravanian hinterlands. I can recall my time there like it was but yesterday. The first 6 moons I was not even allowed to touch the deck of 60, let alone conduct a reading with a major arcana. Most of my time was spent in the scriptorium transcribing old tomes on astrological fundamentals such as the 6 elemental houses, divine duplicity, class triplicity, house modality and polarity, divinity versus detriment. I abhorred the task and would tirelessly pester my instructors as to when I might actually be granted the opportunity to read a spell or perform a reading. It wasn't until the end of the 6th moon that I realized that all that transcribing had prepared me with the essentials I would need to do those very things. The positions of the celestial bodies within the 6 elemental houses and their relation to the major and minor arcana of a deck of 60 therein landed the secrets of tapping the ethereal power unlocked in the heavens. And soon you too will become a privy of these secrets. But not this day, no, I would not have you transcribe musty old tomes like I once was forced to do. No, the task I have for you is much more interesting. You see, I'm expecting the arrival of a very important guest. My old mentor from the studium has agreed to make the journey from the old world to Ishgard and speak with the Holy See regarding the implementation of Sharlayan astrological techniques in city-state defense. Alas, the professor and his party are now fully 7 days late in arriving, and I've begun to worry for their safety. I should be much obliged, therefore, if you would inquire of the other astrologians here in the Aethenium if they have heard aught. Why would Lord Jannequinard think I had information on the whereabouts of a handful of unbelievers from across the blood-brine sea? I'm an astrologian, not a fortune-teller. I cannot simply look to the stars and describe the location of a Viscount's guests. Unless his guests are dragons, it is. I suppose that anyone knew aught, it would be the observatorium. We here at the Aethenium are but students dedicated to research. Those with any influence in our field are assigned to the astroscope. Let me guess, the good Lord Jannequinard said he saw you in a vision and that the stars told him you were to study Sharlayan astrology with him. Magnus? You must be the hundreds of his little pets to pester me this week alone. I harbor no ill will toward ignorant unbelievers unlucky enough to find themselves caught up in talk of stars and fortunes, but you may tell that sorry excuse for an astrologian, for the umpteenth time, that I have heard naught concerning his imaginary friend from faraway Sharlayan. Just do not tell the Viscount I called him a sorry excuse for an astrologian, alright? Jannequinard is still waiting for word on his missing Sharlayans instead of actually making an effort to find them, is he? Of course he is. Is it any wonder that in the nearly 15 years since his return from Sharlayan, his skill in astromancy has remained unchanged? Any wonder that he has never yet managed to convince a single peer of the value of a Sharlayan school? He's a privileged little sprat who spends more time gazing at the stars in young maidens' eyes than actually trying to read the ones above his head. Alright, you tell the poor man I just returned from the observatorium and one night at the communion feasting hall happened to overhear Chief Astrologian Fallermold speaking with one of his aides regarding Sharlayan. He was visibly upset and I wasn't about to risk my career over something I care little about. So I merely put my head down and ate my beet soup. But that is all I know and you did not hear it from me. Master Fallenum, and I thought this day couldn't get any worse. No, I'm not suggesting that meeting you in any day has been unfortunate. It's just that it may not be in our best interest to be seen together as of yet. There are certain people in the sea who do not approve of my studies. Couple that with the fact that you are an outsider and unbeliever, and, well, people may come to the wrong conclusions. We must act with caution until we can prove that our intentions are just and for the good of all Ishgard. So I must ask you to travel to the observatorium alone and meet me there. Alright, to the observatorium in the Central Highlands. Desiree, allow me to apologize again for not accompanying you here. As for our business with the Chief Astrologian, you may leave it talking to me. Jannequinard, I might have known it would be you. Who else would be so indecent as to drag an outsider into this holy place of observation? You have always had an unhealthy obsession with a foreign. 'Tis why you are as worthless to the Aethenium now as you were when you returned from that heathen city a decade and a half since. But the stars, they can serve us in other ways than merely revealing when the Horde will attack. Their powers can be tapped, the aether within can be used for... The aether should be left be, as history taught you naught about the folly of the Nemeans, the Amnapori, the Makai. Mein uncle, the Sharlayans have been wielding astromancy for ages without disrupting ethereal balance. This power, combined with Ishgardian astrology, could be what is needed to turn the tide of a 1,000-year conflict. Moreover, I have reason to believe that our masters at the Vault agree, as they have given me the blessing to continue my research. I did not come to trade barbs with you, Nuncle. Let us save that for another time. I'm here because it has come to my attention that you may have information as to the whereabouts of Professor Mace and his party from Sharlayan. For someone who says he's not here to trade barbs, you have been quite generous in your dealing of them today. If it means you will leave and allow me to return to my work, then I'd be more than happy to let you know what information found its way to my desk just yesterday morn. Serpent Weaver sightings and foul weather preventing the Professor's ship from entering the Strait of Malta, where they would have made their way up the Maiden and into Corfus. After detouring around the south of Wilbrand, they finally disembarked at Vesper Bay, where they took the land route along the Royal Allagan Sunway to the Black Shroud. It is there it seems they lost their way. A lost astrologian, ha! It is as my morning reading predicted. Dalamud was in detriment in the house of a spire while ascending over the ecliptic. Desiree, you must journey to a Black Shroud and assist Professor Mace. Allow me to introduce you to Quimperane. He's my personal manservant and shall accompany you. Good day, madame. He is not one for conversation, but his sword arm is among the best in all the pillars. He should see you safe if any danger were to befall you, and something tells me danger lurks on the horizon. It's a pleasure to serve you, my lady. I shall make haste to Quarry Mill and await you there. I know not which is the worst, the blasphemous wretch who mocks the very principles from which our field is sown, or the bumbling unbeliever who blindly follows him in hopes of gnawing on the scraps he drops in his wake. Anyway, off to Quarry Mill. My lady, I've questioned the residents of this hamlet and learned that a party of queerly dressed outsiders passed through not but a bell ago. It should not prove overly difficult to find them now, but before we begin, might I ask a moment of your time? I would not dare utter aught ill of my master, but his recent fixation with finding a protege, I believe it ill-considered. This passion, however pure, has left him with more than one enemy within the astrological community. Lord Voldemort has seen to this. I fear not only for how his name might be sullied, but for his life. I beg of you, pray do not drag him any further down into this quagmire. Let him quietly dabble in his dream, but let it remain at that. A dream. No good will come from encouraging him. It will only hurt the Viscount and his family. You must remember that while I serve Lord Jannequinard, it is his uncle, the Count, who employs me. Now, as for the task at hand, I suggest we find the wayward travelers and hurry back to our respective halves. I shall eat. Might I ask you to take the rear and see that none might take us unawares? Grandfather? These are the Sharlayans we seek, and it appears they have found themselves some trouble. Unhand my grandfather! Ah, feisty. We'll fetch a fine price for that one from the pleasure barge captains. The soul has spoken. Grab the old man. These withered types carry on them all manner of begemmed baubles and golden trinkets. Up, or I'll toss it to the snakes. You want to see the old man again? Leave us the girl. Try anything and he's dead. Wait! Grandfather's soul crystal? I really leave it here, surrendering any power he might have had to free himself from those bandits. Unless you were the one he saw in his reading before we left the old world? But that was more than a moon ago. My grandfather scried from the cards that he would serve as a bridge for countless souls to be passed to another. Might you be that other? These men of the forest are careless. Tracking them will be no difficult feat. I shall follow and strike before they have time to regroup in numbers. No. Wait. The stars have spoken and laid the path not before you, but before the adventurer here. You must take the soul of the astrologian and place it near your heart. Listen to the tales of those who walked before you, and know their journeys as you do your own. As for the tools you require and the knowledge needed to wield them, I, Leveva, shall see to those matters. You saw there was no fear in my grandfather's eyes when the bandits took him, just because he had seen you come to his rescue. Our lives were written in the stars long before we trod upon this land. It's not by chance that you stand here today, with the soul of the astrologian in your hand. It is fate. I see. And this would be the moment where we actually unlock the job, but I'm new game plusing it, so... That of course already happened. So, normally you would get a set of basic gear and everything, but as I said, I'm a bit further along, level 60. Now listen carefully, for we haven't much time. The star globe which you hold is both your sword and shield. It will grant you strength as well as protection, but most important of all, it will grant you insight into the current location of the stars, enabling you to channel the heavens' aether into your body for use in all manner of magics. The better attuned you become with the heavens and their malefic and benefic bodies, the better that aether might be manipulated to bring succor or pain. But as you already know, the star globe is not the only tool an astromancer has at her disposal. Yes, the arcana, or more specifically, the 6 major arcana, play a defining role in what types of astrologian you become. Any layman will tell you that the cards can predict a man's future. This is both true and untrue. It is not the future that a card predicts, but the card influencing the man so that a certain future becomes more attainable. Seeking to tell a man's fortune, you draw a card from your deck. Upon reading the card, you scry that the man will be victorious in the coming battle. What is it that brings this man his victory but aether tapped from one of the lower 6 heavens, granting the man strength, making it all the much easier for him to overcome his enemy? Of course, what card is drawn is linked directly to a target's destiny, as well as yours. Are you the one who will see this man to fortune, or will you lead him to downfall? It all depends on your reading. Normally I would not dare cover so much in the first lesson, but it is my grandfather who has placed his life in your hands, and I'm not about to watch him have his throat slit because you cannot tell the face of an arcana from its back. You have 2 seemingly capable soldiers here to take the brunt of a bandit's blows. Allow them to carve a trail of carnage while you convince the stars to nudge the two in a direction favorable to my kin. I understand this must be a lot to digest, but if you are ever to become a capable astrologian, you must believe in the path laid out before you, and in your power to read it, follow it, and ultimately control it. Take some time to acclimate yourself to your new abilities, and let me know when you're ready to begin. Yeah, as I said, level 30 Astrologian. I'm a bit far with that. I have been a guide in these woods since my 10th name day, yet never have I encountered bandits the likes of these. They're not of a 12th foot. Pray leave the fighting to me and the spearman, my lady. If you must involve yourself, I suppose you might see to our wounds, but not more. I see in your eyes that you are ready. Whether it actually makes you ready or not, only time will tell. Time, unfortunately, is something we no longer have in abundance. Let us take to the shadows and find out where these bandits are holding my grandfather. May the stars be our guide. Do not let these bandits stand in the way of us locating my grandfather. That is a card from my grandfather's deck. He's leaving us a trail to follow. Desiree, its power is now your own. The balance. Your star is a dignity with a balance. There are 6 major arcana. You must find the other cards. Your star is in dignity with the arrow. Your star is in dignity with the Ur. Your star is in dignity with a bowl. interesting. Don't have much damage as a healer, but should be enough. Leave me in peace, Treant. Your stars and dignity with a spire. Your stars and dignity with a spear. Throw down your weapons, Kerr. You have no choice but to release your professor or meet the same fate as your man. No choice, huh? What if our choice all was to cross blades, houseboy? Come closer and let us end this. A void scent? This bandit is more than she appears. The golem. I was not told there would be two astrologians. Enough of this. I'm Crimperain, in the employ of Lord Jannequinard. I'm sent to escort you back to Ishgard. Are you unhurt, my lord? Jannequinard, you say? And where's my former student? This constant posturing is one of the reasons I agreed to make a long trip from the old world. I see none but Crimperain and this adventurer. I too have seen no other. Just like you didn't see those bandits on the nice way up our asses. But that's no matter. It is all as the stars had foretold. Okay. Yes, I saw this adventurer long before even setting foot on this accursed continent, when the Arcana whispered and told me I would find a worthy successor for my soul crystal. And having witnessed how she eased into a new world, but mere moments after taking up the crystal, globe and deck? Yes, I knew at once my reading was true, that this adventurer was the astrologian I had been seeking. But now let us see if she has the potential for greatness within her. Look to the skies, Desiree, and there you will see 6 stars aglow in pale yellow. This is the bowl. This constellation is thought to be the gate to the first heaven, the heaven which holds the world tree. Planted by the matron and nurtured by the keeper, the world tree is the source from which all life is said to have sprung. The The trunk of a world tree, or the bowl, grants strength to the weak, allowing them to stand firm in the face of adversity. You have now opened that gate, and its power is yours to command. Wait, now I clicked on. Was that tree salivating? Almost looked like it. Okay, future maze here. I just wanted to go over this shortly. What I meant is this here. This looked to me like this is a mouth with saliva running out of it in the tree. But now, in retrospect, it is probably one of these, what is it, flowers or mushrooms that are standing around it. Either way, it's a pretty creepy picture, by the way. But let's carry on. A solid bowl represents a solid foundation. It is not coincidence that this very constellation is risen to mid-heaven at this very moment. The moment of a new astrologian's birth. And to think I saw all of this a moon ago, it seems I'm a better reader of fate than I thought. But I jest. There's been a long journey, with more than its share of unexpected excitement. I'm an old man, and one does not need a deck of arcana to see that my weary legs will not carry me much longer. Let us make haste to Ishgard, so I may give that ungrateful Jannequinard a proper upbraiding. Then let's go. The bowl blazes in the welkin, unlocking the gate to the first heaven. Good, then let's return to Ishgard. Jannequinard, 15 summers passed and still the flippant clod I lost half my hair tutoring. Sending an adventure to find the man you summoned halfway across Eidolon? Always taking the easy route. And you wonder why you still haven't been able to open the second heaven's gate. Allow me to explain, Professor. You see, I was waiting here in case you made it to Ishgard before my manservant and necessary could locate you. Think of a confusion that you arrived here only to find the Aethenium empty. Wait, how did you know I haven't opened all the gates? My grandfather is the greatest astrologian in all of Sharlayan. There's naught he doesn't know unless he doesn't wish to know it. You of all people should know that. Perhaps I was hasty in my decision to remain here and see to your training. Train me? You? But what of Professor Mace? Isn't that why he made the journey? My grandfather has already completed his task. He simply came to Ishgard out of courtesy to an old pupil, one who it appears he wasted years on. Wasted? What are you implying, my lady? Ah, my dear Leveva, you still do not see, do you? Without Jannequinard stumbling into my tutelage nearly 2 decades past, he never would have taken this adventure under his wing and sent her to us in his stead. It was all as the stars had planned. Your soul crystal? Professor, this adventurer has stolen your scroll of your astrologian. Ever the unobservant, Jan. If this adventurer had stolen my crystal, he never would have read up some terrible fate for the last. No. Desiree is my successor. Something I mistakenly thought you might be, but even I cannot see every future, it seems. But do not despair, I have not given up on you completely. Despite your failings, you have tried your best to promote the Sharlayan school of astrology here in this den of fools who fail to see aught and all beyond the Dragon Star. I wish to see you continue that fight, and that is why I bade Leveva to remain here and further your, and this adventurous, training. Thank you, Lady Leveva. I see. This is all rather overwhelming. Might you have some time to consider your words? No. You either continue your training with me and your protege, or you crawl back into obscurity. I shall give you both several turns of the sun to study the basics of Sharlayan Astrology. It should not be hard for you, Jannequinard, considering you've had a substantial head start. Once you have committed the basics to memory, then return here. In the meantime, I will be traveling in Eorzea, searching for locations where Desiree and you will unlock the remaining Heaven's Gates. But you were only recently set upon by bandits. Perhaps traveling alone so soon is unwise? Don't you think I know that? That is why you will be lending me the services of your able manservant Quimperane. I will. Yes, of course, Lady Livever. Anything for the granddaughter of Sharlayan's finest professor of astrology. Quimperane, you heard the lady. Very good. I shall see my grandfather to the airship landing now, but rest assured that if you neglect your studies, I will know. Good. The next Astrologian quest will be available from Jannequinard upon reaching level 45. Now technically I'm all that already, but I would end the episode here nonetheless. Until next time, when we play more Final Fantasy XIV, I'm Mace and don't get lost.